Welcome to Light and Peace Through the Storm. I'm Cecilia. Each week we have honest conversations about real life challenges, and we explore how to find peace, clarity, and hope, even in the most difficult moments of life. Wherever you are listening from today, remember that peace is possible and light is always present, even in the storm. Have you ever heard of a common Nigerian proverb that says, "Butter no be monkey food"? That was exactly how physical affection did not come naturally to my husband. And many years into our marriage, it was difficult for him to initiate words of affection, to tell me that he loved me, or even to express it physically in touch. I, on the other hand, I thrive on physical expressions of love. I love to give it. I enjoy receiving it. Touch, words, you name it. So I told him I loved him every day, multiple times a day. I flew into his arms in greeting when he came home, welcoming him with lots of warmth in words and actions. I told him I was fortunate that he was my husband. For years into our marriage, he never initiated any of these signs of affection, but he enjoyed receiving them. He even said them back sometimes. Of course, naturally, I longed to see him tell me he loved me, to be the first to tell me he loved me. But I understood that it was not in his nature to do so. And yet, I was sure he loved me. I could see it in the tenderness in his eyes when he looked at me, the lifting of the corners of his lips in a soft smile, the way his voice grew tender when he spoke to me. He helped me around the house, doing even tasks that other Nigerian men, will find it difficult to do because they didn't consider it was part of their role in the family. And then one day, to my pleasant surprise, I realized that he had changed. He began to initiate words of affection. He reached out for me in spontaneous physical show of affection. You can imagine, I was very thrilled. I was ecstatic. Welcome back to relationships. Today, we are talking about one of the most common killers in a relationship. The one that very few people are aware of. Keeping score. It is not as obvious as shouting and bickering. It is not as shocking as betrayal. Yet, it destroys relationships quietly, gradually. And before you know it, your mind turns into a calculator, adding and subtracting. You start keeping tallies. Who did this? Who did that? I planned this. I paid last time. Why am I always the one saying I'm sorry? Why do I have to be the one to text all the time? I sacrificed my career. I have forgiven more than they have forgiven me. And before you know it, you start treating love like an accounting system. And every act of kindness gets filed away for future reference, to use to your advantage. Every mistake the partner makes, you record it to be used as a weapon in the future. Every sacrifice you make, you rehash it. You just throw it in their face every opportunity you get. And eventually, gradually, Instead of building intimacy in the relationship, that relationship is torn down block by block. And that is why today we're going to discover why keeping score quietly will destroy emotional connection, and why psychology teaches us that transactional love is not a healthy one. And we're going to look at God's design for marriage, how it is a partnership and not bookkeeping. We'll also talk about healthy reciprocity, healthy give and take, the difference between appreciation and obligation, and the practical steps you can take to stop living as accountants in your marriage and instead to live as teammates, people working together. To ask you a question that you may find uncomfortable, but believe me, it is a necessary one for this conversation. Have you ever done something kind while secretly in your heart you're hoping that your partner will notice and show appreciation? Or you may have thought, after everything I've done, the least they could do is... Many of us are guilty of this, but that's how scorekeeping begins. In a healthy relationship, there is mutual give and take. Each partner will respond to the needs of the other person because they care, without keeping tally of favors. When acts of love is conditional, when it is dependent on a condition, when a good deed is not done out of a generous heart, when acts of kindness are being recorded as a debt to be paid later in the future, that relationship is headed for disaster. Research has shown that close relationships thrive when the partners respond to each other's needs out of care, out of genuine concern, rather than keeping a running tally of favors of who did this and that. Transactional love is unhealthy. It sounds like, I'll do this if you do that. I'll forgive you after you prove yourself. I will show you affection when you have earned it. I will do this after you have done that. Love is not a business contract. True love will ask, how can I love you better? How can I express my love for you? It does not ask, what am I getting in return? Last week, I told the story of a couple who independently sacrificed for each other. None of them had an idea what the other person was planning. Each one of them noticed the need of the other person, and their love motivated them to give up what they valued for the other person. None of them kept a tally or score. Each one of them put the needs of the other person above their own. On the surface, it may seem like their sacrifice for each other was a waste. But their sacrificial acts solidified the bonds of their relationship. Such a sacrifice, the mind behind the sacrifice, is never forgotten. In every relationship, there are moments where doubts may arise. Do they truly love me? I want you to look back to the couple in the story. If any such doubt should come up in the mind of any one of them, don't you agree that they will look back and be assured that the other person loved them very much? Let us look at what the Bible says regarding this topic. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 5, Paul tells us that love keeps no record of wrong. What does this mean? This does not mean that you develop amnesia just because you love somebody. No. What this is saying is that you should stop making every interaction an entry into your mental ledger. This doesn't mean that you should ignore abuse, betrayal, or any unhealthy patterns you may notice. It simply is saying that you should stop making every interaction an entry into your mental spreadsheet that you're keeping. Many people believe that the healthiest relationship, everything is perfectly equal. 50% from me, 50% from you. It sounds fair, right? But real life isn't perfect like that. What if one person loses a parent? What if one partner develops a chronic illness? What if somebody lost a job? Or the baby keeps one of you awake all night for months? Sometimes certain seasons in life will require that one person will carry more than the other person. And then in other seasons, the roles are reversed. Healthy marriages, healthy relationships, they do not depend on equality every single day. But they are focused on faithful partnership over a long period of time, over a lifetime. Sometimes it's 70-30. Sometimes it's 90-10. Sometimes one partner gives up almost everything because the other person cannot do so. And then the roles may reverse again. The goal should be that there is unwavering commitment from each one of you in every season, throughout your lifetime together. Let us look at the example that Jesus left for us. We are told in the Bible that Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. He didn't ask any of them, whose turn is it? He simply served them. It wasn't because any one of them deserved it. He served them because he loved them. In Philippians chapter 2, verse 3-5, it says that we should consider others above ourselves. It doesn't mean you should become somebody's doormat. But it is an invitation for humility, for you to be humble and not compete with each other. Marriage can be a beautiful thing. Believe me, it can be wonderful. But it is only when both spouses are constantly asking, how can I lighten your load today? Instead of asking, have you earned my help? Is it your turn? In a healthy relationship where somebody feels secure, they don't panic when they don't receive repayment right away. Why is that? Because they trust the relationship. They trust that the other person genuinely cares. They say stuff like, I know you'll be there for me when I need you. I don't need immediate repayment. We're on the same team. But insecure couples who are anxious in the relationship, they will always be asking, I did this. Why haven't you done this back? I texted 3 times. Why am I always the one initiating? Maybe they don't love me anymore. They will think. But I want you to notice that an anxious partner is not just counting the actions. At the back of their mind, what is really bothering them is that they are doubting that they are loved enough. They are searching for reassurance. So sometimes when somebody is keeping score, it is not really because of the actions. It is motivated by fear. They are afraid that they are not valued enough. They are afraid of abandonment, afraid of being taken for granted. Somebody in this kind of situation doesn't deserve to be judged. Compassion requires that you do not criticize, but you look for ways to reassure them. When your partner is afraid or is feeling insecure, it is your responsibility to reassure them. Talk to them honestly about their feelings. If you are the one feeling anxious, be honest with your partner and tell them about your concerns, and then wait for them to reassure you. I want you to ask yourself these questions. When I feel resentful, is it really because I feel I'm carrying too much in the relationship? Or is it that I am afraid that my love is not being returned? If you are really carrying too much in the relationship, it is important that you discuss honestly about it. Communication is very, very important in a relationship. And when you talk to each other about it, consider redistributing your responsibilities. If you are afraid, though, that you're not loved enough, talk to your partner about it. Together, two of you should work on rebuilding the relationship. What is your attitude towards the things that your partner is doing in the relationship? Do you feel a sense of appreciation, or do you feel it is their obligation? Appreciation will say things like, "Oh, thank you for making dinner." But obligation will say, "Well, that's your job." Appreciation will say something like, "Oh, thank you for so much for staying up for the baby." But obligation will say, "That's what parents are supposed to do." When you show appreciation in your relationship for your partner, for the things that your partner is doing, it creates a connection, a special bond. But obligation creates a sense of entitlement. Give each other the gifts of appreciation. Pay attention to the things that they do. Little things. Washing dishes, doing laundry, doing a school run, grocery shopping, even walking to pay the bill, their commute to work. Notice and periodically express your appreciation for these simple everyday acts. Because ordinary acts are not so ordinary. Because many times they are extraordinary sacrifices that are being repeated every day. They are acts of love, and love grows where there is gratitude. The Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 18 to give thanks in all circumstances. Marriages thrive when couples look for things to thank each other for, to express appreciation and gratitude. Gratitude softens the heart, but entitlement will harden them. No one likes to be taken for granted. I don't, and I'm sure you do not. So show appreciation. So how do you break the habit of keeping score? Just as this habit is learned, it can also be unlearned. Just follow 5 practical steps. 1. If you catch yourself counting, I've done more. Pause. Ask yourself instead, am I seeking fairness or am I keeping score? Awareness is the first solution to a problem. Number 2, replace the comparison with curiosity. Try to find out if your partner is dealing with some stuff that you're not aware of. So, instead of saying, I do everything around here, ask them instead, how has this week been for you? How is the day going? If you show that you're seeking to understand, it will encourage conversation between you and the person. But if you begin to compare, the other person will become defensive. And defensive people, they close up. And when people close up, resentment will build in the relationship. So look for opportunities to show appreciation daily. That's the third step. So instead of comparing or keeping tallies, look for opportunities to thank your partner for one specific thing. Not a general statement like, oh, thanks for everything, because that sounds meaningless. Be specific and say something like, thank you for noticing that I was overwhelmed today. Thank you for taking care of dinner. Thank you for listening without judging me. Specific gratitude, it makes the other person feel seen, like you really care enough to notice. Number 4, talk before resentment builds up. Do not keep endless score. Do not wait until you feel drained, until you have reached your limit. Have regular conversations with your partner about responsibilities, expectations, and emotional needs that you have. And if anything is bothering you, sit each other down when you may have their full attention, when they are fully focused on you, and then talk about it. Keeping things bottled up will build frustration, which in turn will cause you to explode one day, thereby causing more damage. Finally, remember the bigger picture. Relationship is not about winning an argument. It's about building trust. Ask yourself, is the issue right now going to matter a few years from now? Sometimes the answer is yes, but many times the answer may be no. Choose your relationship over being right. Let it go sometime. Now I want us to do a relationship exercise. It's a challenge for you for this week. Every evening for the next 7 days, I want you to take 5 minutes with each other. Each one of you answer these 2 questions. Question number 1. What is the thing you appreciate about me today? You ask your partner. Question number 2. What is one way I have helped lighten your load today? The way I have made things better for you today. There should be no criticism, no corrections, no defending yourself. If you do this, watch what happens. Because when appreciation increases in a relationship, scorekeeping will go down and even eventually disappear. And when that happens, intimacy will grow in that relationship. Before we close, I want to emphasize that healthy love is not perfectly balanced scales. It is actually measured by how faithful and committed each person is in the relationship. When love is selfless and unconditional, the relationship will thrive. The best relationships are often marked by sacrifices. It may not always be equal sacrifices, but each person is trying their best to outdo the other person, competing for who is going to be kinder than the other person, who is going to show more generosity, more grace. That is a relationship where peace reigns. So, stop asking who has done more, and instead ask, how can I love you better today? True love is not a transaction. It is not a covenant. Each partner says, I'm committed to your good, even if life is hard. And that is how God loves us. Because love is rooted in the character of God. It is who He is. And that's how He expects us to love each other. So this week, put down your mental calculator, your accounting book, and start loving sacrificially. And the peace of God will reign in your relationship. When you are tempted to start keeping score, catch yourself and ask instead, how can I do more? And I want you to say this prayer at any particular time you catch yourself keeping score. Say, Lord, give me wisdom and humility to love my partner the way you love me. Help me to give without keeping score, to never feel entitled, but rather to recognize the little efforts and sacrifices that my partner is making. Help me to show appreciation for the things that they are doing for me every day, for me and the family. Amen. Then, end the day by telling your spouse one specific thing you appreciate about them. Small moments of gratitude, when they are repeated consistently, they can transform the atmosphere in a relationship. Far more better than any scorekeeping and emotional battle can ever do. Follow Light and Peace Through the Storm on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. To stay connected, visit ceciliapublished.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for @Light and Peace Pod.